recorded, then you can close your video and also let me know if there is a specific difficulty. And just wanting to very thankful and welcoming to Marcella Danon and for her time today. And as we're bringing people in, maybe you want to share, either sharing here or in the chat, where you're from and what brought you here today.
Andrea, a lot of friends here.
Hello, welcome, Claire. So you, welcome.
Are we all introducing ourselves? Just
if you feel to introduce yourself and saying where you're calling from, what brought you today, you're welcome to. We're waiting for people to come in. But...
Okay. Well, anything that starts with "we are nature," I want to hear how other people are putting that into words. So, yeah, for me, that's a brainer, and it's like to see it in a sentence anywhere. So, and right now I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. This is my first call of the day.
Wow, you're lucky.
Just check my calendar out. You won't be saying that later.
No, thank you. Anyone else wants to share where they're from and what brings them here? Luis, yes.
Hi, I'm from Wales, and sort of living with Kate and Sibby, who are also on this chat, and Sibby's been doing a lot of stuff around conflict, and she said, hey, we're doing this thing, and so I had this lovely sort of delight of looking through all this program, going, oh, what would I like to do? What do I feel drawn to? And yeah, I feel really connected to the land that I was born on and where I still live, and love being outside. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm right by a window and looking at birds feeding outside. So thank you.
Welcome.
If I may go next. Yeah. So hi everyone, my name is Aman, and I know Marcella was talking about India. So in India, every name has a meaning. Like Aman means peace, and she was talking about Chitra. Chitra means drawing. So every name in India has a meaning. So that is just a comment. But what draws me here is creative people like Uri and of course Marcella. So much to learn through simple techniques. The other day we were using different tools. I know Uri was leading the call where we use fire and stone and leaves to kind of unload different emotions, offload so many emotions. So it's great to see how people around the globe are using nature to de-stress or kind of get their center back. So that's why I'm here to know more about the universe, what they're doing, and how I can incorporate into some of my daily meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you can invite yourself in. Naomi, yes, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Naomi. I'm from the Netherlands, and I'm here today actually, for the same reasons as Aman and Claire described. I also saw the title of this session, and I was like, okay, I need to be there, because I'm learning so much that I never expect to learn. So I have no expectations, but excited to be here and curious to what might come out of it. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Welcome. Marian?
Hello, everyone. I'm Marian Rios from Colombia, and I am ecopsychology, ecopsychologa, and Dragon Dreamer too. I know you, Uri, or Dragon Dreamer. I am ES Charter in Colombia, and Marcella is my partner, and I have many expectations because Marcella is very good. It's excellent. Thank you.
So I'm Vinita from India, calling from the UAE. What brings me here is one, I have attended all the sessions Uri has held so far in the summit, and psychology, and especially eco-psychology, because I have been hearing about it. And I am really interested in it because human beings can't stay separate from ecology. And we have done much harm by not integrating the earth and the human beings. So I'm very curious and I'm looking forward to what emerges in this conversation. Thank you.
Welcome, Vinita.
Yeah, welcome. And Anne, if you want to share.
Yeah, I'm Anne. I'm in Southwest England, and I'm really happy to be here. I feel really privileged to be able to come along to hear and learn and be open. I'm curious and excited too. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
We're just sharing a little bit as people are coming in where we're from, and you can do it in the chat or speaking if you prefer, and what brought you here. If you still want to share, we give a little bit more time to people to come in before we do the practice. Yes, Andrea? Yeah.
It's unmuted. Hi, I'm Andrea from South Africa, and I'm the IES representative here, and I'm a follower of Marcella's work. And yes, I'm just very excited about what's going to come out today. So thank you for having me.
Hello, Andrea. Great to have you here.
Great. Oh, so many continents and places. Amazing.
When you listen about IES, it's International Ecopsychology Society.
Yeah.
We have more than 20 represented nations.
So if you see Angelo joining, and if you want Kate and Ruana, if any of you want to share where you're calling from, reading today. I'm Amanda from the island of Jersey, I see. And we have Roanna in Michigan, US, interested in anything related to nature. Yeah.
Angelo.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Angelo. I'm calling from Italy, although I normally live in Colombia. And I'm just curious about to listen to Marcella and to learn from what I listen.
Welcome, benvenuto.
Grazie.
Great. Yeah, Kate.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate, and I'm also living in West Wales and have been here for over 20 years, living on a small holding and doing forestry and organic growing, etc., and home educating children and trying to be intentionally with nature, although I struggle to get out in nature. There's a block there. And so for me, I'm interested in working on grief around being separated from nature and how that affects us all. I believe that affects us all. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you for bringing this in. And Sibi.
Hi, yeah, I feel really shy, but I'm going to say hi anyway. I'm Sibi from Wales, and I'm here because I've done some environmental activism and in my life already, and something that connected to me to that was engaging with the grief that came up when I was in nature and the grief of what we're doing to the world, and that kind of, I sort of thought, no wonder I'm experiencing a lot of difficult feelings. So yeah, that really keyed me into something, and it led me to do activism. And I'm also thinking about studying a counselling course, so this is really great for me to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sibi.
Welcome, Sibi. Thank you for joining us. Anyone else wants to share? We have Shanti, Flor. It's not obligatory. You can also be passive spectators. The idea is to having a conversation together and feeling that we're sitting in our homes and we have this opportunity to be in each other's homes and listen and learn together. And maybe I can share also that I'm Uri, calling from Italy, originally from Israel. I've been on a journey which is both inner and outer at the same time. And I've been very privileged and happy to share this journey in this summit as well, through different ways, through interviews, through spaces in which I shared my personal story as well, and also bringing in the different activities we do with Imaginaction. And this new activity that Imaginaction is a arts-based organization in which we're based in different places in the world. And it started by Hector Aristizabal, a mentor of mine, and Angelo is also part of Imaginaction. And we're mostly people working with arts-based social technology, with communities, with conflict areas, and loosely organized, as I would say, and we're building up some capacity to offer things collectively. So a lot of us are working individually as facilitators, and now I think what I feel is this moment is calling us to be able to connect and share knowledge and share wisdom and create spaces for that to happen and offer mentoring, peer learning opportunities. And as part of this process, we're also hosting this conversation with people that inspire us and inspire our work. We had for a conversation, the first conversation with John Croft, the creator of Dragon Dreaming, co-creator of Dragon Dreaming, last week. And this is on the website, you can find a recording of that. And the theme was We Are Storytellers. And it's also, we're trying to learn from these different approaches into and create a base of connection into how can this work be something that heals and connects. And sometimes we sense it, we sense that it is there, that it's possible, but we don't have language. And if we don't have language, then it's hard to explain it. And if you cannot explain it, it's hard to get resources. And if you cannot get resources, it's hard to be sustainable. And so and keep their energy going. So I'm really happy to have today Marcella Danon, because I see her as one of my teachers. We met in near where I live in Pantarei Education Center, a story in itself that requires its whole series of webinars. but a dream, a big dream of also people working for the common good. And I was happy to be able to join an exchange with some of the ecopsychology, and I was really moved and inspired by ecopsychology. I feel that I had a lot of resistance around psychology. I shared in other conversation in this call that I had, some would say post-traumatic situation in the army, and I never went to a psychologist, and I have a strong resistance to psychology, and I cannot really explain it completely. But when I heard ecopsychology, at the first time I said, oh, this is a psychology that makes sense for me. and I appreciated it because it felt that it connects, that's what I'm going through and what we're all going through is connected. And it's not about that I or someone else is having a problem, is that we're, and also it gave me some kind of view into how my process is happening and finding language to that. And nature has been such a teacher for me, and meeting ecopsychology and meeting Marcella allowed me to seek it more intentionally as well, and have language for that. So it's really great to have Marcella here and have all of you join. And I thought that we can start with a centering activity. John was inviting us for Pinakari last week, which is the dragon dreaming centering. And I know in ecopsychology there is also a practice of centering. And maybe Marcella, you can lead us into a short centering before we begin.
Thank you. Thank you, Uri, for creating this magic net.
And maybe first, just Shanti wanted to share. So I just.
Yes, I'll be very quick. I just wanted to say that I resonated with what you said, Yuri. I have PTSD, and my experience of the mental health system in some ways has added to the trauma, because you can see the strains of capitalism and patriarchy and colonialism sort of like almost funneling through those spaces. And yeah, and I'm in healthcare, and I'm part of what I'm doing and what's brought me here is the work that I want to do in improving communication and conflict within the healthcare space, as well as just individually. I want to be able to show up better in life and as an individual in my relationship with others and the planet. So there's a lot of deep things, I think, in what you said there that could be unpacked. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shanti.
Yes, thank you. We start with a centering practice, mindfulness practice, because eco-psychology, it's about eco, the outer world. Psychology, psyche, soul. We want also to bring back psychology to his roots, talking about the soul. And when we talk about the outer world and the inner world, we have to have clear where the center is, which this point within us from where we can look inside and then look outside, in the present, in the here and now. So before each meeting, before each trekking, before each conference, we start with the practice. We will do it just in a few minutes. We call it centering, and it goes through, I'm going to tell you 5 moments. Bringing attention to the breathing, bringing attention to the body, to the mood, to the heart, and to the head, to the mind, and then to the center. I can make myself understand that my English is not perfect, and so please be sensible, although I might not be using the right word. So I ask you to sit comfortable. You can either keep your eyes open or close. Close it's easier, but as you feel more comfortable. It will take just a few minutes. And take a deep breath. And then put all your attention to your breathing as it is. You don't need to change the rhythm, the depth. Just be aware. How am I breathing in this moment? How deep? How fast? We breathe from the first until the last minute of our life. It connects us to this life. So let's give just a few moments of attention to this activity. And then please expand all your attention to all your body. What is your body feeling in this moment? Physical sensation, cold, hot, hunger, comfort, discomfort, hurts, tense, relaxed. What is the body telling? Our body is our earth element, and we have to learn to listen to his language. So just few moments to give all the attention to our body with his language, physical sensations. And then go to a more subtle dimension of our inner nature, and let's concentrate on our emotions, feelings. What is my heart telling me right now? Which mood do I have right now? Don't judge, just accept, just pay attention. How am I feeling in this moment? And any feeling is welcome. I'm just aware of what is present in this moment in my heart. And then I go even deeper to an even more subtle dimension of my inner world. And I go to the mind. How is my mind right now? Silent? Or some thoughts are going? What I did before, what I will do after. Just be aware. Just be aware of what is the atmosphere of your mind in this moment. And if there are thoughts, just reassure them that you saw them and let them go. You will find them in a few minutes. This moment, let them go. And then look from this point, wherever you feel it, this central point of your inner world, from where you observed the breath, the body, the heart, the mind. Concentrate yourself on this central point, this focal point of your inner being, the point from where you can be present to everything that happens inside. This is a centering point where you can strengthen yourself, when you can enrich, calm, root yourself. You can renew your energy whenever you need it. It's the point of your strength, of your essence. It's your inner home. Just check wherever you feel it is, if it is in your body, in a point of your body, if it is in an image, in a symbol. And just concentrate a few moments in this center, in this present, this feeling of being present, here and now. And this is the meeting point between the inner world and the outer world, because from this point you can decide now to focus all your attention to the external world. If your eyes are closed, you can try to focus your attention now just what you can hear. You can focus your attention to the fact that you are in face of a PC, in connection with people that you maybe don't know from all over the world. So although you are on your chair, you are connected in this moment with other people, other nations. No matter if you are in a town or in the middle of the wood, you are connected with the earth. Imagine that downward there is soil, rock, earth, fire, the whole planet. And you're connected with the sky. Above your head, air, clouds, atmosphere, space, universe. Wow. From this central point, we are connected with all our planet and with all our universe. And we're all connected among us. Each one of us is much more than a single cell, with a single point, with a single being. And from this point, we can learn how to expand our awareness and how to be present to the presence of others. And knowing that you can go back, you can come back to this point whenever you want. Make again a deep breath and be ready to open your eyes. And we will meet again through the screen.
Thank you so much, Marcella.
Welcome. We cannot really connect to others. We cannot really connect to the world if we don't awaken the attention, the listening, the respect, the empathy toward ourselves, first of all. So this is a good practice to become friends of ourselves, to learn how to listen to the needs of our bodies, of our heart, of our head, in order to become more sensible of feeling the presence and the needs of other people around us and of other non-human people around us and for other beings around us, that we can learn to perceive as beings and not as things. The problem in our Occidental culture that plants, for many also animals, for many also people, are things. And so we don't give the honor to the otherhood, to the others. And so we can't get really connected with them because we are only focused on our ego. That's a beautiful creature, the ego. We need to go through, to learn to love and know and manage our ego our personality, with all the facets of our personality, with all the complex things of our personality, in order to understand and to learn and to get in touch with the complexity of other people, the complexity of the world we live in. That's actually the essence of ecopsychology, that brings together the need to create an ecological relationship, good relationship with ourselves and with the world. And getting well along with ourselves is the first step to getting well along with others. And the opposite, we can also start from guiding people to gain a good relationship with the outer environment, bring them in nature in a certain way, in a respectful way, in a curious way, in a loving way, in order to strengthen this ability to be curious, loving, and interest, and then bring it inside. So from inner world to outer world, when we improve the relationship in one of these two poles, the other also gains. So that's why ecopsychology, it's not only for psychologists. Ecopsychology is also for people that works mainly in education, in nature, in trekking, in outdoor activities. But actually, it's we will see that it's a vision that for all Earth citizens in this moment of our history, because we need to do what Joanna Macy calls a turning point. We are in a turning point. We need to open our minds, our hearts, our souls to the fact that we are not alone. Not alone as individual, not alone as ethnic, religious, political group, not alone as humanity on this planet. This planet is not for us. We are one of the species of this wonderful, complex, marvelous planet, and we are one part of it. The vision that ecopsychology brings, it's called ecocentric, in antithesis to anthropocentric. In an anthropocentric vision, that the ones that dominate our actual culture, everything is here for us. We are the higher, the best, the honors of this planet. In an ecocentric view, we are one of the elements of this ecosystem. Together with others, we are what we are thanks to all the species that came before. The studies on the human genome confirmed that our DNA has the 98.5% of the other primates, but we have in our genome also all the other animal, plants, bacteria, virus, all the history of our planet is written on our genome. So we are earthling, terrestrian. We are sons and daughters of this planet. And as sons and daughters of this planet, we have to honor, to thank, to be aware that we are together with a lot of, to honor our brotherhood and sisterhood with all the other beings. So this is the step that ecopsychology wants to help us to bring in education, in therapy, in counseling, in working in the organization, in architecture, building house in a certain way, creating the space in house that can facilitate a certain kind of meeting with the people that live inside, with the world that is outside. It has a, it's an invitation to invent new ways to live together, to work together, to dance. So there is a lot of, ecopsychology doesn't invent anything. It recovers many cultures of that cultivate the roots of our humanhood. So a lot of honor for all the native cultures, and cultivate what the best technology brought us. Theodor Roszak is the founder of ecopsychology. He says ecopsychology is not anti-industrial, it's post-industrial. So there is the belief that technology used with awareness, with wisdom, look what it's allowing us. I mean, we are in India, in South Africa, in the United States, in England, and in South America at the same time. Welcome technology. So learning how to bring the best from our past and how to create the best for our future in a view capable of catching the interconnectedness with a systemic view, a prospective view, where we learn that each action that we do will have consequences. And so we can choose which action to do in order to have other consequences. And from more psychological point of view, or this is the contribution that psychology brings, to learn how to recognize all the facts of the past, of what we learned from others, from our culture, from the prejudice we kept from the environment where we grow, and to connect with our center, telling, okay, do I really think this thoughts that is in my culture or in my house or in my place where I work? To be aware that I can choose the thoughts I want to cultivate, that I can choose the words I decide to say, that I can choose the actions I want to do. We know that the past has a strong weight on our story, psychoanalysis and so on. But ecopsychology is based on humanistic psychology and transpersonal psychology, and whatever our past has been, we can always decide how to act in our future. It's never too late, said Virginia Woolf, to have a happy childhood. So our past, it's an inheritance. Sometimes our past is a weight, but we can anyway be always free to decide how to use our past. So the fact to do a work of personal growth, it's a must. We have to be to recognize who we really are and to take off what others told us we should be. And in order to bring the treasure we have inside as seeds to the moment we live, to the society where we live, to the family, the friends, the work, the group where we live. Each one of us has many, many things to bring to life and to others. And we will only feel really happy and satisfied when we will have the opportunity to flourish. Each one of us his own nature. I stop one moment for questions or whatever, because I know that in Italian I go and talk and talk and talk. I'm surprised to see that it works also with English.
Yeah, thank you, Marcella. And I feel like the centering kind of helped us to feel it and the sort of well-being and peace that comes in when we are able to do it. And maybe before we go around with the questions about ecopsychology, I want to take a step back. And there is something in one of your training that you shared that was very moving to me. And it actually was a story that you shared about a moment in which you felt something, and I want to ask you if you can bring that moment. And I think it was a sunset in Jerusalem that you were. Maybe you can tell us something, and maybe that can speak about those moments in our lives that we feel it.
It was a sunrise, yes. I don't know if you all know what. Does someone of you never heard the word transpersonal psychology? Just to do like this, so I know that's. The transpersonal psychology is the fourth strand of psychology that study all what goes behind the personal psychology, all what goes behind the ordinary state of mind. So dreams, ecstasies, intuition. And Maslow, it's one of the creators of transpersonal psychology. He created the word peak experience to define this experience that we all live. Sometimes for just a second, sometimes it lasts for minutes, sometimes it lasts for days, where it's like if something of the ordinary vision opens and we have a wider vision of ourselves, of the world, of the universe. We have a perception that goes beyond what our five senses can perceive normally. And we perceive emotion, we can feel emotions that can be very, very, very strong. And what happens to me, I didn't remember I told you this, Yuri, because I haven't told to many people this. I was student in Jerusalem, and one night I couldn't sleep. It was a very difficult moment. I couldn't sleep. I was very anxious, and I went out walking in the night, and I walked and I walked and I walked until I arrived at the top of a hill that just faced to the desert. It was in Har HaTzofim, in face of the Galilean desert. And the moment I arrived on the top of that hill, quite also tired from all the not sleeping and being, at that moment, the sunrise, like a red, incredible, huge sphere. And that has been a kind of shock, gone, like a, and there I had the feeling that everything in the world is love. Now it doesn't have this strength, it's just a sentence. We have this sentence in t-shirts, in mugs, in everywhere. It's not so special, but it wasn't the sentence, it wasn't the feeling of it. And this stayed like a revelation. Well, this moment has been very, very strong, and then finished. But this sentence, that the essence of life is love, I meet in many other situations. My mother had a serious cancer. This was already happened 19 years ago, so it's easy for me to tell. And at the end, she was taking morphina, I don't know what's it's in English. And well, morphine, it's a drug, brings to another state of awareness. And she was the last day in kind of ecstasy. And she was telling me everything is love. I really felt that she could see, also because she was already at the end of her staying here, she was already watching far, that's what we can see. And it was the same message. So this is interesting. So But what is interesting of this, I'm telling you this because I'm sure that all of you had this sometimes little intuition that for some moments can make us understand that we are much more than what we are taught at school that we come here probably with a purpose, that we are much more powerful than what we think we are, that we are much more magic than what we are taught we are, and that we can do a lot. You just have to overcome the thought that, oh, it's not possible, you can do it, you are too small, well, how do you want to change things? There is a story of a man that on the shore, when there was the low tide, all these stars were on the beach, and they were drying. So this man going on the beach took one and send it to the water. He does another step, take another one, send to the water. Someone on the top like this who said, oh, what are you doing? There are too many. You will not be able to change the things. The first one just continued. And he says, for that one, things changed. So it doesn't matter if what we can do, it's a little piece, but we can change a little piece. So talking about who is active on activism or feel the need to be active, ecopsychology wants to be an empowerment of trust, whatever you can do by yourself or creating nets with others and changing maybe little things, but at least something you will do. It's very important to take back once again the feeling of our personal power, because all what's happening outside and what we saw with this COVID, it was very evident, make us losing our feeling of empowerment. Oh, the virus will come and get me. There are a lot of small things we can do. So we could live with the International Ecopsychology Society. We create a whole series of webinars where in order to help people to recognize they could choose to live this event in fear, to live this event in learning, or to live this event in growing. So, and this is also for when we talk about being active, trying to do something for this planet, to do something for all our brother and sister, and to do something for our own culture, because our planet has 5 billion years and went through many disasters. We are just one of the disasters he's facing. So it's not to save the planet will manage it in another way with other form of landscape and everything. What we have to save is our culture, all what we conquered until now. It would be too bad to have to start once again from, oh, the wheel, great, with the wheel you can move faster. The fire, so we can stay warm in the night. So whatever we can do in this moment, it's important, because everything from the outside, from the media, I don't know if on purpose or not on purpose, but push people towards feeling powerless, towards fear, toward a sense of impossibility to do anything, toward apocalypse. Okay, but even if we are going toward an apocalypse, I'm sure that each one of us wants to be active until the last moment, trying to avoid it, because it's anyway more interesting than just waiting for the end of the world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing this story. I remember it as a sunset, and now it's a sunrise, and maybe that's it. Maybe the apocalypse is not a sunset, it's a sunrise. So I just want to, yeah, Claire, do you want to share something?
I do, especially because I will be leaving in about 8 minutes. I'm trying to make it last as long as I can. But I wanted to offer something to Marcella and everybody here, because I guess it was like a year or so ago, I realized we have the word empath and empathic, but we don't have an equivalent word for the ability to feel earth. And so I created one, and I'm submitting it to dictionaries, and I put it in a file which I'd like to send. Either you can give me co-hosting permission and I can just put it in the chat, Yuri, or I'll have to email it to you and you could forward it to people. But I'd like to just read it to you. Ah, you did that. Let's see if that makes it work. Perfect. But just because when we can language something, it gives it a certain kind of authority that our felt experience is not validated enough yet in our society. So I'd love to just read to you. And I got some feedback from different people, like Rick Tarnas. I can't remember if I asked Fritjof Capra what he thought, but Polly Higgins, who is an environmental lawyer. So if you are ecopathic, which would be an adjective, it's the ability to understand, be aware of, be sensitive to, and vicariously or directly experience the complex aliveness of Earth's ecological processes, experiencing and subjective presence, without necessarily having the feelings, thoughts, and experience fully communicated in an objectively explicit manner. So there's a lot of words, but basically in its simpleness, it's saying I don't have to be able to put into words for you how I know that the Earth is alive, because I'm not getting a telegram or a memo from Earth saying I'm alive. It's a direct experience, and it's true, and it's happening. And I think the more of us that have a language, and it's like I said, it's like being empathic, but it's ecopathic. So I'll upload it into the chat just to share. I'd actually forgotten about it, but when I was listening to you talk, Marcella, it suddenly popped up into my mind, and it was like, oh God, I never finished that project.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you for your work. Thank you for your work. It's the most important work, helping us as a species to recognize our belongingness. I'm an artist, and so this is my subject, and I approach it from that perspective and from the perspective of consciousness, because that's what I teach and study. So it just fills my heart when I meet people who care enough to devote their lives and their passion and their attention to bringing this to the front of our minds, to helping us validate the experiences we have every day that we don't necessarily name as valid, genuine experiences, because they're outside of our normal way of speaking about things and our normal way of validating things. So it's just a scale of importance, bringing it up in the scale of importance and relevance. I mean, we're not human without planet. We're just not. We don't exist without planet. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Claire. We will spread your word. I like it a lot. We really need, it's very important to have new words, like Maslow needs to create a peak experience and immediately gave, okay, so I'm not crazy. What I'm feeling is recognized. Others feel it also. And ecopathia, it's really what we want to awake.
It might, in the conversation with John, we were talking about the how do we treat the risk of psychopath controlling the earth. which is what's happening. So maybe we need the ecopath to, maybe that's the way.
Funnily enough, the document has, because that issue exists, the document has ecopath and then it has sociopath contrasting, saying someone who cannot feel earth energies. And there are lots of shorter definitions, like the act of feeling earth's energies, the act of empathizing with earth's subjective experience, you know, as experienced by outside forces. So there's lots of different definitions, because you get that in dictionaries, you know, so that you can pick one that works for you. Yuri, just so you know, I'm still not able to share a file into the chat. So if you want to just give me your email, maybe.
Yes,
I can email it to you.
Maybe I don't have this enabled in my Zoom, so please share it to me, and I'll try to, if that's okay with everyone, I can share this file with everyone, or I can put it on the Imaginaction website when there will be the recording, and I'll put this as a file so people can access it when they see the video.
Yes, I still just need an email for you, Uri.
Okay. So I thought you have it. Okay, I'll just.
Sorry, everyone, to get logistical.
Sorry, Yuri, if you can repeat later, what is the form that we're going to get? I'm very touched by what Claire and Marcella are bringing, because I work with this all the time and I have tears in my eyes because I could never make myself heard directly, and I don't need to, but I really honor, I don't want to miss to have this document. So if you can explain it again, how we're going to get this information. Thank you so much.
So if everybody is okay with it, I can send it to everyone, this file, after our talk, everyone that registered, if it's okay with Claire. And I also put it on the Imaginaction in Conversation page near the recording of the call. So whoever sees that can open it as a file. But if you by any chance did not get it, just contact me. And when you registered on the Zoom, you would have my email as well. So
okay.
So but you know, you can find me on Facebook. There's nobody with my name in the world. So if by any chance you didn't get it or you're not finding it, please contact me. And we did create a circle, conversation circle, following the conversation with John, and I didn't plan to open one for this, but if you want, I can open a conversation circle so people can share more knowledge and things as they're coming out from this. And yeah, thank you, Claire, for generosity and the inspiration. And I know you have to go. Anything? Yeah. You want to say something?
It's sent. I'm very happy to be able to contribute. It just thrills me that we take care of Earth. And I'll watch the rest of the recording. I'm going to teach now, but I'll watch the rest of the recording of our gathering here. And I so wish I could stay for the whole of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Yeah, I feel this thing about we basically want to be helpful for one another and for the earth. This yeah, it moves me that we have been taught otherwise and we're teaching otherwise in subtle and not subtle ways, and as and I feel there is a lot of violence in it, in that we are teaching and portraying ideas in which we are actually interest driven, when it's not true. We're not interest driven at all. We actually the tendency, the natural tendency, and you can see it in young children, obviously, is to to be helpful. And actually we feel very bad when we don't perceive that we can be helpful or not be seen for our gift. That's actually what makes us. And there was something else I wanted to ask you to raise, but I first see that there is gifts, and maybe someone wants to add to this conversation or bring to that. And I did want to bring your pyramid that was super inspiring for me, the double Maslow pyramid. But first, maybe if someone wants to bring in more contribution at this stage, and then I bring that to this.
Naomi?
Yeah. So, Naomi, yeah?
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, now I feel nervous. I don't know why. But while Claire was sharing this word with us, and when Marcella was talking, a big question for me came up, and I was actually discussing this before with my partner. I'm just curious to like anyone's thoughts on this. Is it possible, you think, that there are people who are not ecopathic? Because I'm very prone to think that we are all capable of feeling that, but we just, I don't know, people produce walls and coping mechanisms and all these things because of nurture, because of trauma, because of, well, anything. Yeah, I was discussing this with my partner, who's very calm and very grounded. And in a way, I feel like he's very purely connected to Earth in that way, but he's not like busy with that in a spiritual way. And so I sometimes question his, not question his groundness, but like, how can you be grounded without experiencing this pathic? Yeah, all these questions. I don't know, like, is it possible that there are people who do not have this potential? I cannot imagine that. Yeah.
I use a metaphor that can maybe give an answer or a key at least. The seed, the sprout, the plant, the flower, and the fruits. The seed, he said, walls. The seed is on a hard shell, and he thinks that things will stay as they have been until this moment. The seed only knows the seed reality, the seed status. But then it arrives a moment, not for all the seeds, but it arrives a moment where the right conditions are there, humidity, warmth, soil, and the seeds get overwhelmed and revolutioned and start to discover that there's something more. So there are people that are, and in once who is in the sprout state is exploring. So say, wow, there is a lot to explore. Roots going down, leaves going up. And it's the exploring moment of the life. Then someone understands, okay, who am I? And it's the plant. Okay, it's clear. So I work to strengthen my identity. Then you bring the plant to flourish. It's the Maslow pyramid, what Uri showed before. You know, the Maslow pyramid that says that once that you fulfill the basic needs, then you arrive to self-realization. And that's the flower. The flower is when the ego gives his best. But the path didn't finish, because the flower then goes beyond the top of the pyramid and became a fruit that for others to be eaten and to start again the cycle. So with this map, because when we train eco-tuners in the International Ecopsychology Society, we created the word eco-tuner, eco-facilitator, nature facilitator, because only psychologists can define themselves eco-psychologists. But if there is a tracking guide that is trained in eco-psychology, he is an eco-tuner. So eco-tuner have to understand which is their public, because I can't do the same kind of work. I can't say the same things if I'm in a public of seeds, of sprouts, of plants, of flowers, of fruits. And what I like of this map, that's not like giving notes. You are insufficient, sufficient, more or less, good, great. No, because each one of this reality has his beauty, has his moment. A child in the first grade, it's no better, not worse than someone in the university. Each one will have his moment, his time. So maybe for someone it's the time to stay still as seed until the things will be ready. And obviously, as eco-tuner, I will have to work in a completely different way with a seed and with a plant. So I have to honor also the place where each one is in this moment of his life. That's anyway a good place. I don't know if it can be helpful. And another thing that might be helpful, because you say your partner is very grounded. I like very much Thomas Berry. Thomas Berry is an ecologist and theologist. He say we don't need transcendence, going toward the spirituality. We need inscendence. So bringing the values of spirituality in the daily life, or in the material world. So many times grounded people, although we profess atheist or not interested in anything spiritual, from this point of view, it's much more spiritual that someone says, oh, I'm part of this sect. I talk with God every Monday morning, or things like this. So it's interesting, these new words like inscendence that help us to see things in different way. The earth needs people that act. And not all the people that act has a conventional spiritual view, but from Thomas Berry and from ecopsychology point of view also, who act is already spiritual. And spirituality has to get concrete with action. No matter which action, each one will find the one that's good for him and for his environment, but acting. So being grounded is very important.
Yeah, thank you, Nomi. And I want to do something because we're nearing our end. And so first of all, I wanted to so that this thing, I can also share that, and it's something really inspired me about this idea that after self-actualization, there is a whole other realm. And I really feel that. I feel that in my own process, and I feel that many people maybe in this call are already in that process, in which is really about how do I bring a vision of love and action and into the world. And I also want to take in this invitation from Naomi and Marcella about thinking how can we, so when we made this conversation, it was about how can we apply the lessons of ecopsychology. And I feel maybe we can do a breakout room session and try to answer this collectively. And see, also asking ourselves, and maybe have 2 or 3 people in a room for about 10 minutes and sharing just what we're taking away from this conversation and trying to translate it to, and the question is, how can we all apply the lessons of ecopsychology in our lives and when working with communities and organizations to bring about a new story for human beings and nature. So, and you can see, you know, if working with communities and organizations is not relevant for you, just do it with our lives. So how can we take the lessons of ecopsychology? If so, does that sound something we want to try to be in 10 minutes, and then we share here what came out from that. So try to, you'll be with 1 or 2 more people, and just try to take the time in such a way that everybody gets to share. So about 2-3 minutes each. So, I'm going to set the timer on 10 minutes, 11 minutes. So it's 10, and then there would be a reminder of 1 minute before we go. So, so you would be with 1 or 1 group of 3, another group of 2, I see. Okay. So 3 to 5 minutes each, what we're taking away, and you can refer to the chat and the question. Okay, opening the rooms. Hello. Are you here, Shanti? Oh, that's a problem.
Uri,
Yeah.
puoi mettere Naomi nella stanza numero 4 con Andrea e Kate, perché io devo fare una telefonata e lei non ha potuto avere i suoi compagni.
Ah, ok. Quindi cosa devo fare?
You put Naomi in room number 4 where I was before with Andrea and Kate.
Okay, I'll move her now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you need to click again on the breakout rooms, and I might send Shanti also. Yes.
Oh, yeah, she wasn't there, so I don't know.
So did you try to go to breakout? Do you see that?
I don't see anything.
Okay. Or we can share it here. We can use it as a breakout room.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it is recorded then, right? But that's okay.
I can stop recording.
How we can learn from ecopsychology in our everyday work. And Sautua shared that she is already part of a community, living in a community, and CB as well shared her what she's doing in mainly in England and UK, and that's it. And I think we enjoyed also talking about activities that could be done for children, adolescents. I mean, all the parts on education that could be informed by ecopsychology.
Yeah, thank you, Angelo. And I see CB also shared education, rites of passage, forest schools, art of mentoring, 8 shields.
Yeah.
Bill Plotkin. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Someone else from this group or another group wants to share shortly just what came up in your conversations and sharing?
I Oh, go ahead.
I was in a group with Andrea and Shanti, but Shanti didn't talk at all. So I hope they're okay. Yeah, it turned out that Andrea and myself are both working with grief, that she is working out, and I hope I'm not jumping, Andrea, if it's not so, but an online grief way of being connected with ecopsychology. And so it turned out that we're both working with grief, and I'm working with Extinction Rebellion with grief tenders and also white racism. And so we really had that. I think there was we both felt struck by the very obvious seed, plant, flower, fruit, and how that was helpful to Andrea, if you don't mind me saying, Andrea, about really understanding that people are at different stages, and so we speak to them. It's easier for both if we meet them where they're at and where we're at, rather than this that everyone should know this now and get on with it. So that felt like a relief for Andrea to remember that. And for me, it really strikes my grief around, I mentioned white racism and intentionally racist men in Britain at the moment who are out on the streets, and remembering that they were beautiful little boys who got damaged by society, and that we are nature, and so really grieving that damage that's being done to us.
Thank you, Kate. Yes, Anne?
I got really excited by something that came up in our little group, if you don't mind me mentioning, with Louise and Rowena. Louise talked about being, I think, of like a breastfeeding counsellor or working with mums on breastfeeding. And I just had this thought of like that being a, what's the word, like a parallel to relationship between the earth and humans, the mother and the baby suckling, and it's a two-way relationship about the mother will provide, but only as much or as in response to the baby suckling. And I just thought I'm going to think about this a lot more. I just was really interested in, and now Louise has just posted something. Louise, would you like to say that? I thought that was amazing too.
Okay, I'm just interested in how relationship goes both ways, but something that I love about breastfeeding is when part of what happens is, as the baby suckles, a vacuum's created, and so bacteria in the baby's spit goes back into the mother's breast, and as soon as that happens, the mother's body starts translating that bacteria into antibodies that then get delivered to the baby in the next feed. And so it's this completely relationship where the mother and baby are informing each other all the time. But yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So I'm just bowled away by that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the mother also came in our main room breakout. I don't know if Naomi, if you want to share, or it was very moving, and sharing about the wisdom that's coming from Naomi's, the connection that we have and we feel. And what makes me think about when you are sharing, Louise, as well as, you know, this whole situation of the Mother Earth and us as her children, and our relationship to her, with her, she, it, whatever, and how can we communicate better and maintain that relationship. And yeah, I feel to bring it maybe to Marcella for a closing, as we have some few minutes, and just again expressing the gratitude for your time and wisdom today, and all of us, all of you that were being part. And I'll share my email also. Yes, share the email for everyone. So if you have like a difficulty about getting the material, and if you want to share something more with the group, I can share that. Okay, I'm having some issue, and I'm trying to write, and then it comes out only in Hebrew. It's very funny. Like only over. Okay, I copied it for somewhere else. So if that's my email, and if you want to share also in this group and keep in contact, just write privately or in the group chat. And yeah, bringing it back to Marcella. There's something.
Yeah, just to. Oops, they went by themselves. I just want to thank you very much for Uri for organizing, all the people for coming, and I will close with a sentence of Sarah Cohn, one ecopsychologist. She say, "The earth speaks among the most sensible among us, through the most sensible among us." So thank you for being portavoce. Come si dice portavoce?
Messengers, or yeah, messengers.
Messengers
of persons.
Earth, because we are part of the planet. The planet needs all of us, needs that each one of us awaken, and that each one of us can become an awakener of others. So no matter in which field, working with mothers and babies, working with building, working in education, in medical, in psychology, in whatever, when you feel this sensibility that we are the earth, you can find your own way to translate it in something that can be useful also to others, as that can allows you to go after the point of the pyramid and feel that you are part of this living earth. So I leave you with this wish, with this thought, and big hug. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and have a nice, yes, a big hug, and
Everyone, you can
summer or winter if you are north or south.
You can unmute yourself and say goodbye also, and just in.
Bye. Thank you, Marcella. Lovely to meet you all.
Microphones and all.
Thank
Ciao,
you,
ciao, ciao.
everyone.
Grazie, grazie Marcella.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
grazie.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you, Uri.
Thank you, Naomi.